Well, good afternoon. It's great to be here in beautiful Guelph. This is just a great community, and Guelph has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the entire country. That's absolutely amazing. And I know more businesses are coming here. And that's thanks to the hard work of innovative employers like Linamar. So thank you, Linda, for your leadership and for hosting us today. And thank you to Kim from O2 Medical Technologies for supporting this important partnership. And I'm also glad to be here, joined today by Minister Elliott, Minister Fedeli, and MPP Mike Harris. It's also great to see Mayor Guthrie. Mayor, you're doing a great job, by the way, my friend, leading Guelph, and again, the lowest unemployment in the entire country. My friends, our government, we are here for the people of Guelph. We've invested $3.2 million to resurface Highway 7 between Kitchener and Guelph. We're investing $3 million for the new Guelph Transit Terminal building at Guelph Central Station. And most importantly, we're providing over $12 million through the Safe Restart Agreement to support frontline municipal services right here in Guelph. Because we aren't out of the woods yet, my friends. This virus, it's a terrible threat. It continues to spread. And as we see around the world, countries are getting hammered by COVID-19. In Ontario, we've done better than most, but we can't take that for granted. A second wave of COVID-19, it's coming. And the officials are telling us that the second wave could be more complicated than the first one. So we can't sit back, we can't wait. And that's why we've been working around the clock to get ready for the second wave. We've invested billions of dollars. We're expanding testing, getting the systems in place, stockpiling PPE. And my friends, we saw the outset of this virus that having enough ventilators, having enough of these life-saving devices, is critical. It's the difference between being ready for the worst or not. And we saw in the spring that the global demand for these devices, it was impossible to get them. So we decided to call on our best and our brightest. We called on Ontario manufacturing giants, companies like Linamar. They stepped up. And today, a few short months later, and I find that amazing, few short months later, I'm proud to announce that we now have life-saving ventilators being made right here in Ontario. We have a partnership to secure 10,000 Ontario-made ventilators. This will dramatically increase the provincial stockpile. That's 10,000 ventilators made right here in Ontario. It's a game changer. 10,000 ventilators for our hospitals, long-term care homes, and frontline healthcare workers. And I hope we never have to use them. But thanks to the partnership, we will be prepared for the worst. And I'm proud that our government was able to support this with Ontario Together funding to help with the retooling. So my friends, when it comes to ventilators, testing, contact tracing, when it comes to vital PPE, we're working around the clock to get ready. And through partnerships like these, by promoting Ontario-made PPE and medical equipment, we're supporting Ontario jobs. We're supporting Ontario workers and proving that we can make anything right here in Ontario. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Fedeli.
Thank you, Premier, and thank you for your ongoing leadership and continued support for our Ontario manufacturing. And thank you to Linamar for hosting us today. When this pandemic began, the people of Ontario stood up and said in one loud, clear voice, "What can we do to help?" It was a true demonstration of the Ontario spirit. From neighbors checking on vulnerable neighbors, to the donation of millions of dollars of critical supplies. So when we said we needed PPE, when we needed medical equipment, when we said that it was time to unleash the unstoppable force of Ontario workers and Ontario innovation to build made in Ontario solutions, the response from business, workers, and communities was incredible. Through the Ontario Together portal and Ontario Together Fund, and through the leadership of Premier Ford, our government helped mobilize our province's manufacturing and innovation might. So companies like Linamar, O2, and Bombardier can bring their expertise to bear on the challenges of this pandemic. Today, we're making a $2.5 million investment from the province of Ontario into Linamar, who has retooled their assembly line to manufacture the E700 ventilator parts to make these life-saving devices. Linamar, O2, and their partners came together under extraordinary circumstances to ensure Ontario's emergency preparedness throughout the last several months. As COVID-19 is a respiratory disease, E700 ventilators are among the most critical and coveted pieces of equipment for helping patients. What stands out about this project is Linamar's quick response to pave the way for domestically produced medical equipment. As the Premier has said, we don't want to see Ontario caught without critical supplies and critical equipment ever again. Projects like this one mean we can be more self-sufficient as a province and better prepared for the future. Allowing companies to bring production back to Ontario, the workshop of Canada, right where it belongs. And we can all be confident that when that call goes out, our world-class entrepreneurs and innovators will answer, prioritizing made in Ontario solutions. By working together, we will emerge from this pandemic a more united and resilient province than ever before. And now it's my pleasure to invite to the podium the CEO of Linamar, Linda Hasenfratz.
Premier Ford and distinguished guests, welcome to the Linamar iHub. Normally, our team here is very much more focused on creating the future, developing new technologies to drive the future efficiency of our facilities, our operations, maybe incubating new concepts that we're developing. Today, however, as you can see, the team is very much focused on managing the present, as it is home to producing several key projects and ventilators and other key equipment to support our frontline healthcare workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, when COVID-19 hit us all back in the late winter, we, like many companies, were looking for ways that we could help out. We quickly zeroed in on the ventilator segment as one we thought we could play a role in. Some early research into who the key players in the industry were quickly surfaced companies like O2 and Thornhill as great Canadian companies with awesome products who might need some support to ramp up production. We were also approached by some other ventilator companies to provide them parts as well. And in a matter of literally 2 weeks, we were in production for components for O2, for GM Ventec, and for Zoll. And just a few weeks later, we were production ready to make entire assemblies for Thornhill of their comprehensive ventilator and full life support systems, a complex assembly of more than 1,700 individual components, as well as a UV disinfection unit for Clean Slate to clean cell phones and other electronic equipment. Our team was truly impressive in pulling off this incredibly condensed time frame. They literally worked day and night, 7 days a week to make it happen. I'll also say that the experience was a really positive one for our people. These 5 projects allowed us to call back about 600 of our 9,000 employees in Guelph to full-time work. And it gave our team something really positive to focus on, something they and their families could be really proud of them for doing. And I really feel like the morale boost for all of us was a really important light in a pretty cloudy time frame for us. Now, some people have asked me, how do we do it? How do we get tooled up so quickly? And my response is really twofold. First, the fantastic culture that we have at Linamar to be responsive, to react quickly to any situation, and an incredible work ethic to just work until you get the job done. And secondly, an incredibly deep pool of technical talent that we have here at Linamar. I literally feel like there's nothing this team could not take on in manufacturing, and I'm really, really proud of them. I believe we were also able to do this in record timing thanks to the incredible collaboration between our government, our ventilator company customers, and ourselves. You know, it's really amazing how a crisis can mobilize a group of people to work together so seamlessly to achieve a common goal. And I have to commend you, Premier Ford, and your hardworking team, who I know worked late into the night, 7 days a week as well, to get the people of this province what they needed to support them. I think you guys did a fantastic job, and I'm sure lives were saved because of it. The establishment of the Ontario Together Fund was key to helping us all in a time we didn't have a lot of spare cash to finance tooling up these lines, and we are very grateful for your support. Winston Churchill said, if you're going through hell, keep going. And that is certainly what we have been doing. So thank you again to the province and our partners for the collaboration and the support to work together on this really important initiative. I'd like now to welcome to the podium the CEO of O2 Medical Technologies, Kim Lasseline.
Thank you, Premier, Minister Fedeli, and of course, thank you, Linda, and the team here at Linamar. With the arrival of the global pandemic, collaboration has become even more important. O2 Medical Technologies is a global company. We are based less than 100 kilometers away in Brampton. We supply ventilators worldwide, and we are always proud when we can help here at home. I am grateful to the companies that stepped up to help us continue to supply our life-saving ventilators. It's been great to see firsthand the work being done here at Linamar. I'm also happy to see another supplier here today, Bombardier Transportation. They are well known for building commuter trains, subways, and streetcars, yet they stepped up to take on assembling various components and sub-assemblies for us in Thunder Bay, and they were able to recall 50 employees to do this work. I'm giving a shout out to all the employees who made this happen and a big, heartfelt thank you. I understand the Canadian manufacturers and exporters, with the help from the Ontario government, have launched a program to highlight Ontario-made products. I'm proud to say that we here at O2 can absolutely place that logo on our ventilators. Thank you. And now I would like to invite to the podium the Mayor of Guelph, Cam Guthrie.
Well, thank you very much. And on behalf of the City of Guelph and on behalf of Council and the entire city, it is just really my pleasure to welcome Premier Doug Ford to our community. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank Premier Ford and his cabinet for your tremendous leadership throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition to me serving as the Mayor of Guelph, I'm also the chair of Ontario Big City Mayors. And that is a group of mayors that collectively represent nearly 70% of the Ontario's population. And as the pandemic unfolded, Ontario Big City Mayors told the province that it was causing plummeting revenues and millions in new costs for municipalities, and we said that we needed help. And the Premier listened. He went to bat for us over and over again when it came to negotiating the Safe Restart Agreement with the federal government, and he made sure that Ontario's cities received our fair share of emergency operating funding. Premier, thank you so very, very much. Now, on behalf of not only Guelph, but all of Ontario's cities, we come to this crucial time. Thank you again to the Premier for having our back. We know that at this crisis time that it is far from over. There are many challenges ahead, including the challenge of an economic recovery. But we also know that we have tremendous strengths that will help us meet those challenges together. Today's announcement is a perfect example of those strengths. Guelph has always been proud to be home to Linamar, from its beginnings in Frank Hasenfratz's basement or garage to its current position as an innovation powerhouse that employs thousands of people. This is an incredible Ontario success story. Linamar could have located anywhere, but they chose Guelph. They chose to invest in Guelph, grow in Guelph, and we are very proud and grateful for that. From its very beginning, Linamar has been dedicated to innovation and technology. It comes as no surprise to me that they are innovating once again and bringing their world-class manufacturing expertise to support Ontario's healthcare system with O2 in this time of need. Congratulations on today's announcement, and again, welcome to Guelph. Thank you very much.
We'll go to the phone line for questions. Just a reminder that it's one question and one follow-up, please.
Your first question comes from Lucas Meyer with News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Lucas.
Thanks very much. On the long lines that we're seeing, a few weeks ago, we asked you about testing at pharmacies. You said you were in discussions about that with shoppers specifically. It feels like if this is going to happen, now would be the time. So where are we on that to try to deal with these massive lines that we're seeing?
Well, I understand where you're coming from. I went by a drive-through up by William Osler, and it's ridiculous. It's three to 4 hours. We're on it. We had a discussion this morning about it. We've been working with the Ministry of Health. Minister Elliott's doing an incredible job moving this forward. And what we plan on doing, first of all, we have to make sure all the ducks are in a row, but making sure that it's asymptomatic tests through these pharmacies, and it'll take the burden off the other areas that have potentially a lot more ill people. So you'll be hearing from us over the next couple of days. I just want to make sure all the ducks are in a row, and then we'll make an announcement. But we're all over this, Lucas.
Follow up.
So just so I'm clear then, Premier, is it fair to say that testing in pharmacies is going to happen in Ontario?
Well, I'm not going to say that 100%, but I can tell you we're all over it. I had a personal call with the CEO of Shoppers today, and I don't want to just mention Shoppers because there's other great pharmacies out there that are willing to jump in there, but we're doing everything we can to move this forward rapidly. So just stay tuned over the next day or two, and we'll have a announcement. I just don't want to announce anything until all the ducks are in a row there.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Paula Duhacek with CBC News. Please go ahead.
Carla, how you doing?
Hi there, colleagues in Toronto. A court in Ontario has ruled that your government is required to release your cabinet minister's mandate letters under provincial law.
Yeah.
Your government has now decided to appeal that ruling to a higher court.
Yeah.
I know that you never want to comment on the substance of something that's before the court, so instead, can you just explain to the people of Ontario why you're spending tax dollars on a court battle to keep your mandate letters secret?
Yeah. Well, I can't comment in front of anything in front of the courts. So when that happens, we'll make a comment when that comes around.
Follow up. Paula, follow up.
And follow-up question regarding the Linamar announcement. Are you planning on hiring any additional employees in the months to come for this project?
For Linamar, I'd have to pass that over to Kim and Linda. But let me tell you a story about this. This is an unbelievable story, how when we reached out around the world, everyone was scrambling for ventilators, scrambling for PPEs, scrambling for surgical gowns, scrambling for everything. And I have to give all the credit in the world to the companies that stepped up, like, again, Kim from O2 and Linda from Linamar. That's true leadership. And they stepped up and said, we're going to get it done. And at the beginning, we're thinking there's always a few bumps in the road getting certain parts and so on and so forth. But with their leadership, their expertise, their ingenuity from all the companies, we're able to get it done. And again, it's the businesses that get all the credit. They switched over lines, other companies switched over lines to make PPE, the hand sanitizer, gowns, surgical gowns, face masks. So it's unbelievable the speed that everyone did this in. And it's amazing when there's a crisis how quickly people move. And we need to continue doing this even after we get through this pandemic. It's about collaboration between the private sector, all three levels of government working together, and forget about all this political stripe nonsense because it drives me crazy. Let's move together as a unit, and we're unstoppable. When we're moving forward on this, we're competing against the people, not down the street any longer. We're competing against people around the world that want to start producing PPEs for us. That's never going to happen. Not only are we going to produce everything here in Ontario, we're going to supply it to the rest of the country. So we don't have to rely on any foreign government, any foreign leader. I don't care if it's President Trump or someone over in Asia or over in Europe. We have the know-how right here. And thank goodness we have great leaders like Kim and Linda. So I'm going to pass it over to them regarding how many more people they're going to be hiring, or they may have enough, but I just want to thank them. And again, another shout out to the mayor. This guy's a champion. I'm telling you, he's an absolute champ. There's a lot of companies coming to Guelph. I haven't even told you, Mayor, of all these other companies I hear are coming to Guelph, but that's not only a tribute for the leadership of the mayor, but it's a tribute to the people of Guelph. When companies open up, the first thing they scan is the area. Are there going to be great people that are going to be able to work at these companies? And obviously, all these companies have done the research, and there's quality people right here in Guelph. So Kim or Linda, you want to take the question?
So we have about 600 people that are working on our various ventilator projects and healthcare products right now. So they're not necessarily new hires, but they are people who were, many of them called back from layoff at the time with plants idled around the world. We had a lot of people not at work, so it was a really welcome opportunity to get people back to work full time. And they are now continuing to work on a variety of these projects and also back to some of their regular jobs as well.
Last question.
Your final question comes from Sean Jeffries with the Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
Hi,
Good
Sean.
afternoon, Premier. Wanted to get back to Lucas's first question right off the top of the press conference, specifically about the long lines we're seeing at the assessment centers. It seems like there are a lot of parents there who are getting their children tested, themselves tested. Was this not a predictable outcome of the reopening of schools? And what specifically is the province doing to address these lineups?
Well, I'll pass this over to the Minister of Health. Thank you.
Well, first, I would say that the good news here is that people are going to be tested. We've asked people to do that if they have concerns, if they have some symptoms, if they feel that they've been in touch with somebody with COVID-19, we want them to be tested. But they also deserve to be tested in a timely manner. And we are aware that there are some significant lineups in many different parts of Ontario. So we are looking at the best way to address those issues, whether it be through pharmacies, through labs, through other ways to enhance our assessment facilities. So as the Premier has said, we are looking at all of those alternatives right now, and we will have an answer in the next few days, because you're right, people are concerned, particularly for their children going back to school. We did anticipate an increase in the lineups, but perhaps not to this extent, and so we will be ready. We are boosting our capacity at assessment centers as well as our lab testing facilities, because it's one thing to have the test, but you also need to have the test read and understand whether you have COVID or not. So we are increasing our facilities in both of those areas.
Follow up.
That's great. And if I could just
Premier, yesterday you talked a lot about the possibility of more shutdowns in different regions because of rising COVID case numbers. And you pointed out the need to really rein in the social gatherings that are contributing to the spread. What is the province going to do to address that? It seems like you're asking for people to take individual responsibility, but couldn't the province do something? Couldn't the province change its plan to address that and head off these shutdowns?
Absolutely, we can, and we're going to. We're going to discuss it with the health table, but we've already been on the call with Mayor Watson. I've talked to Mayor Tory, had a meeting with Mayor Brown last night, and I always believe in getting input from the municipal leaders. No one knows their area better than the mayors and the council. So we're reaching out to them. They've given us some areas of concern. We're going to address them right away. I just want to back up for the question of the testing. We're, you know, the province as a whole, and it's really credit to Ontario Health and the public health agencies around the province. They get a tremendous amount of credit. We are hammering the testing. You look, we're 38% of the population. We're doing 52% of the testing, and we're going to continue ramping up. You know, you always see the numbers. I think yesterday was 29,000, but we're always hovering in between 23 and 30,000. We're going to be ramping up to a lot higher numbers than that. We're getting ready, and again, I just want to thank the Matt Andersons of the world, Dr. Dirk of the world, and Dr. Williams, and all the health teams, all 34 of them around the province. Folks, we're ready. We're ramping up, and I know there's going to be a few bumps, but we've been able to get through it. And some of the accomplishments that the private sector and the people are doing are phenomenal. And I just asked the small percentage, the 1 or 2% are having these parties in the backyard. Guys, we just can't do it. I'm like, we just can't do it. It's not from a lack of advertising. Unless you're living in a cave or you're living underneath some rock somewhere, like, you can't turn on the radio, you can't turn on the television without some advertising from the federal government, provincial or municipal government. And it's not the whole province. It's 3 areas that we see the outbreaks. We have a phenomenal tracking and tracing team. And we're going to be all over this. So just stay tuned. Over the next day or two, we're going to be rolling out announcements for regions that are affected, and also about the testing and taking the burden off the hospitals and other testing areas. So I just want to thank everyone, and again, I want to thank Kim at O2, Linda at Linamar. You two are absolutely phenomenal, and obviously the Mayor Guthrie, you're doing great, along with my champion ministers, and everyone's pulling in the same direction. So I'm just so proud of everyone. We'll get through this, folks. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.